Good morning and welcome to Marketing for Beginners. If you're watching this, then you are registered for the online workshop Marketing for Business with Beginners, which is through Digital Solutions, an Australian government initiative that we at Business Station have the pleasure of delivering across Queensland, Northern Territory and Western Australia. So if you're watching this and you haven't already registered for the program, I'm going to tell you a little bit at the end, but as a little hint, it only costs $44 and you get 7 hours of mentoring, 3 hours one-to-one and 4 hours workshops and webinars. So stick around to the end or flick to the end if you're watching the recording. And I'll tell you more about it then, okay? But today we're going to spend a couple of hours actually breaking down what is marketing so that you can really, write down your answers to the most pertinent questions to figuring out how to market yourself. So without further ado, let's get started. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself just to begin with so you understand who I am and where I come from. So my name is Rhonwyn. Yes, that is my real last name. You can email me any questions at ronwyn@businessstation.com.au. I am I'm a digital solutions advisor in the digital solutions program. But other than that, I also run my own businesses. I have a small cybersecurity firm, and I also run my own workshops for startups. That's my specialty. I've been working with startups for about 15 years. And really I I specialize in, all sorts of business management, which is a lot of planning and strategy, if I'm honest, a lot of problem solving, and also leadership development. So leadership from being a one-person band all the way up to having, hundreds of people working for you, working out, the best way to do that and what modern leadership really is all about. So let's get stuck into marketing. So what is marketing exactly? Which is what I used to call this workshop, and apparently everyone knows what marketing is. But actually, when I go to live workshops and we talk about what is marketing, lots of people seem to be a bit stuck on this. And you really got to ask yourself, what is the first thing that comes to your mind when you think about marketing? So maybe some advertising. I hear that a lot. So marketing really is a lot more complicated than that, but also you can do it in a really simple way. So I'm not going to scare anybody today. We're going to take it slow, and I'm going to go through each part of working out your marketing strategy and how that works. Also probably take some time to just go through how a marketing plan or a marketing campaign kind of fits in with the rest of your business. First, I just want to show you a simple definition, which I guess is a little bit wordy. Marketing is the process of getting people interested in your company's product or service. This happens through market research, analysis, and understanding your ideal customer's interests. Not everybody, your ideal customer. Marketing pertains to all aspects of a business, including product development, distribution methods, sales, and advertising. Yeah. So it's more than just coming up with a campaign or a tactic and saying, "Oh, I'm going to do social media." There's while that might be a very important tactic that might work very well for you, it only works at its peak, at its best, at its maximum potential if it flows into everything else you do with your marketing, with your business. And I'll give you a quick example of that. I used to work for this firm that they would have, well, not work for them. I did work for them. I wasn't an employee, but I did some consulting with them, and they couldn't work out why they were getting leads in, but then they weren't closing. And what it came down to was when we looked at it, actually their marketing was saying that they were the best value, they were the best quality, they were being looked after from start to finish, blah, 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 all this kind of stuff, all these promises and expectations that their marketing was going through. And sure, it attracted leads to the business. But on the other side, these leads weren't converting into sales, because when the potential customer came into the business to start doing business with them, it was a big mismatch. So they weren't the cheapest price. They weren't the best value. Their quality was pretty good, but it wasn't the best on the market. And this is why we say marketing is really from the inside out. You have to get all the core aspects of your business working really well together so that you have something to shout about in your marketing. That's kind of how it works. So let's get moving. Oops, just moved my screen. Let's get moving and check out, how marketing fits in with us. So as you can see, I've just put up a sneaky little slide that really shows you how marketing plans fit into the rest of your business, because this is actually quite important. I'm a big advocate for planning. I do another workshop on how to create a business plan. And my approach to business planning is very, what's the word? Logical. If you are not prepared to write a 20-page business plan and read a 20-page business plan and follow a 20-page business plan, then you shouldn't do a 20-page business plan. And I feel exactly the same about all sorts of plans in our business. Your plans are supposed to be followed. So I would absolutely support and encourage you to do each of these types of plans at some point when you feel you're ready to look at that aspect of your business. The sooner the better. But certainly, how you create that plan and how detailed it is and all the rest is really up to you. I will say this, the more details you look at, the more you are encouraging yourself to do a little extra research, to really check things, to see if you've covered all the dots on the I's and the crosses on the T's, and, is this actually what it's supposed to be and doing what it's supposed to do? So the more detail you do go into for a plan, really the better off you'd be. So if you feel like this is your first planning and you want to do a really good job at it, I would encourage you to use a full template, which I'm going to show you in a minute, and go through each section in great detail, being mindful to do some research along the way. And then if at that point you feel, now I've got it straight in my head, but I'm not sure I'm really going to refer to this much, then grab out one sheet of A4 paper and write all your key points from each section. So if it's a business plan, you might be like, okay, this is my total budget for the year. This is how much I expect to make in sales, and what my minimum number of sales or cost of sales or everything that I want to do. This is the main strategies we're going to do. This is my vision or mission. It's probably just your mission for the business, like your mission statement, which we're not going to talk about today. That's a part of business and strategic planning. But all I'm saying is that, any kind of planning in your business should be detailed. But at the end of that, if you decide that that's too much, make a one-pager out of it with all the key points that are going to trigger you to make really clear, decisive decisions in your business, because that is what a plan is all about. A lot of people think a plan is like a foolproof way to get from A to Z. It's really a guiding document. Your plans can change, the world can change, your business can change and evolve. Opportunities will inevitably fall into your lap and come over your desk come by your desk when you start getting some action going. So the more you're in your social medias, the more you're doing whatever the activity is you do, the more clients you serve, the more people you talk to and talk about your business, the more people go, yes, okay, I remember that woman or that man who did that business, and they're talking to someone else, and then they connect you, or they forward you an email about some opportunity, or they say, oh yeah, we've been looking for someone like that. So inevitably, when these opportunities come in, the point of your plan is really to guide you into whether you should do that opportunity. Yeah. So at the moment, if you're quite quiet in your business and you're not getting much sales through and not much is happening, looking at your marketing today, I hope, will really help you kind of nail down where your communication to your customers might be not going 100% and help you get back on track. That's what hopefully the goal of today is, to understand how to communicate and pitch your business from the inside out. But certainly, the more that you put yourself out there and the more you do, the more that comes back as well. So just be mindful of that. So you are welcome, if you're watching back the recording, you can pause this, have a look at what each plan is, you know, get online, look for a template if you like, or email me, rhonwyn@businessstation.com.au, and we can have a chat about it. But for now, we're doing the marketing and sales plan. So outlook on what you're specifically going to offer for the year. What are the 4 P's of marketing? Now, some people might know there's actually 7 P's of marketing. I'm only going to go through the basic 4 today. This is for beginners. And what, you know, skills, budget, and resources you will need to carry out this marketing plan. Okay, that's really the basics of it. So how do we use our marketing plan in a small business? So the type of business you do, the way you run it, the resources and time and money you have available will absolutely affect what kind of outlook you have on your marketing, and then what sort of strategies and tactics you will do through your marketing. So what is the difference between a strategy and a tactic? Because they kind of sound the same, don't they? So a strategy might be to grow to 100,000 followers on social media, across all your social media channels, right? That's kind of a strategy because, you know, in an aim to kind of grow your reach and your communication reach and your brand exposure, right? So that might be the strategy. The goal might be to increase your brand exposure. The strategy is to increase your followings on social media. The tactics are the ways you grow your following on social media. So for instance, you know, posting 3 times a week and tagging different people to come and share and like and interact with that post each time might be a tactic. Likewise, excuse me, likewise, I've been talking a lot this week. Likewise, you know, doing a bit of advertising to get people to just go to your social media or your website or something could be another tactic. You know, doing an event online and saying that people have to like your page, or doing a competition where people have to like your and follow your Instagram or Facebook or TikTok or something like that. They're all tactics, but the strategy is to grow the following, right? So you usually have a goal of what you want to do so that you don't end up doing strategies and tactics that take you off your plan, right? Take you left field and to every which way except where you're supposed to go. The strategies is kind of what I call your zigzag. I call the strategies the zigzag because when you're trying to get from point A to point Z, or even just point B, you know, it may not be a straight line. It might be that you have to go over here and do this little bit of work because that'll give you exposure to this, and then this will do that, and that'll do that. You know, so you kind of go over here and then over there and over there, but you're kind of still going in the right direction. So if I saw an opportunity that did a zigzag, but it was going to take me along a different path long term, that would be a no. Whereas if I could see that, okay, if I do 10 free consultations so that I can get my testimonials in order to get $100,000 in sales this year, well, it is a bit of a zigzag, because if you're aiming to get a huge amount of sales, you know, say you're starting from 0 and your goal is 100,000 by the end of 12 months, you know, doing some stuff for free feels off the path. But the reality is, by taking that little zigzag, it'll, you know, it'll get some momentum and activity going. It'll get some testimonials. It'll get some feedback. It'll get you some content and to share. It gets the ball rolling towards your 100,000. Whereas if you just were like, I'm just going to look for clients and they're not coming because you haven't done anything yet and you're at a block, well, that $100,000 journey is going to be slow going, right? So you see what I mean by a zigzag? A zigzag is absolutely a strategy that's going to get you to your end goal, but it may not be in a completely dead straight line, and that is okay, as long as it doesn't veer you right off. So in our small business, you know, and I do this in the business planning workshop as well, is you know, we've been taught these days, Simon Sinek and a whole bunch of, you know, methodologies kind of point to the idea that people are a little bit disconnected and sick of the byline of big organizations that promise the world and really are just out to make $1 or $1 million, billion, dollars. So a lot of people these days will choose to purchase from you because of why you do what you do. And that is why marketing strategy, marketing tactics like stories and storytelling, that kind of thing is very big these days, and because it allows, and this kind of idea of authenticity and showing your real self, because people want to know the real you. People want to buy from someone with heart, someone with a purpose, someone with drive and authenticity, taking them towards a destination. So if it comes down to your product and the other person who is really just very much like, buy from me, buy from me, buy from me, it's the best, you're going to miss out if you don't come, scare tactic. Well, they're going to be like, well, sod ya, bless ya, but sod ya. I'm going to go over to the person who really is doing this to make a difference and has their why all figured out. And I know that when I purchase with them, I'm gaining meaning in my life while adding meaning to their purpose and direction. So the why you do your business and the why you do your products and services is actually pretty important these days. So it's good to figure that out. Now, this this kind of comes into business planning, but it absolutely is at the core of marketing as well. So when we figure out what products we're going to do, what position we are in the market. So position is where we say, are we the best quality for the highest price? So we're kind of in a premium position. Or are we maybe at the other end where we're like low quality, low price? So we're in the absolute budget, consumable kind of position. And there's lots of different variations in between. That position will help you understand the next bit, which is your USP, otherwise known as our unique selling position or unique selling proposition. Tomatoes, whatever you're working on at the time. And what your value is that you're bringing to them. So if you understand what value you have to the person you're selling to, it gives you a unique point they can latch onto. And it really is important in finding your uniqueness to understand that it's okay to specialize. It's okay to be in a niche or a niche in America. It's okay to focus on the things that make you you and are special about the way you do it, because you are unique. And there might be 1,000 other people who do exactly what you do or solve the same problem you solve, but nobody does it quite like you. And that's what's unique. So you have to figure out how that uniqueness goes into the communication you have with customers and the value you provide for them. Then, once we figure out, product, what are we offering, value, you connect with your customers. So the W's are with, that's my shorthand. So connect with your customers. So this is all the core of your marketing strategies, that we know of, which is marketing communication. Okay, so marketing communication is the part where you figured out all the campaigns, all the plans, and then you talk to them in whatever talking to them means. It could be through social media. It could be through calling them up and saying, hey, have you heard of us? Do you want to buy from us? Or do you want to make an appointment to meet? Or do you want to come to this workshop? Or do you want to come in and we're having an event day? Or can I send you a free sample? Or whatever the tactic is you want to use to get them engaged with your business. Which then, once they start to engage, as in interact with you and you're starting to connect, then you can take them through a sales process. And once they've gone through that sales process and they make some purchases from you, absolutely, in terms of thinking about sales and profit in our business, which is another workshop, you have to do follow-up. So follow up on, were you happy with what we did? Follow up on, would you like to purchase from us again? Follow up on, is there anybody else we could help that you know of, as in referrals? Follow up on, we have a great affiliate marketing program where you refer someone and you get 20%. Follow up in making sure that their needs are met and that getting that feedback. Follow up to get testimonials. Yeah, there's 50 different reasons, maybe more, that you can follow up with a client. Yeah, probably 100 if you think about it, 1,000 if you think about all the different industries and things that we do in business and industry. So whatever follow up is right for you, you have to figure out. But follow-up is an important part of this process because it keeps people connected with your business, right? All right, let's move on. So this is the 4 P's of marketing. Very, very important. We're going to do some little workshopping in a minute, just getting through the basics here. So if you're a beginner, it's important to understand that promotion, like advertising and socials and public relations and media and press and whatever else you do, beautiful website with a lead magnet, blah, blah, blah. We'll go through some tactics at the end, don't worry. That's just one part of marketing, yeah? So just reminding you that, first of all, we have this mix of what is it exactly you're going to sell. Now, keep in mind, in marketing, when we talk about products, we are also talking about services. We use that same P for product word throughout the marketing speak, and whatever the product is, it's just an easy shorthand. So when I say product, please know that I also mean services. Flying my room. So your product is going to have a bunch of features. So features are, what are the specifications or the specific things that are of that product or service? Take coaching, for example. I've done some coaching in my time. Coaching in its, how do you say, like your, in its true form, coaching is a system or a process of observing someone doing a task or a sort of type of work or something like that, and you look at the way they're doing it, the process they're taking to do it, the skill level and skill particulars they're taking to do it, the knowledge they're injecting into the way they do it, all that kind of stuff. It's an observation exercise, and then you can give some constructive guidance on how they can improve and be better. So that is why they say coaching can be done at any level, because even if you're at the top of your game, you will plateau, and only with someone coming in and observing and helping you and guiding you to coach you to be a bit better do we improve. So coaching, and that's why coaching is such a massive industry these days, because people are really getting savvy to this, that if you really want to do really great, let's do some coaching. So what are the features of coaching? Well, the features of coaching is probably some one-to-one time, unless you're doing group coaching, which is also good for startups. If you other features might be for my particular coaching, perhaps I give them a full report at the end of our coaching session. Perhaps I give them a recording. Perhaps I allow partners and staff to attend. Perhaps I go and visit them at their workplace so I can observe in situ. These are all the features of the product or the service that I am providing in coaching. What are the benefits? So the benefits are the kind of the sweet married partners that go with features. Benefits are the why you have that feature. So the benefit of me going to someone's workplace and observing them in situ is that I'm going to they're going to get more accurate coaching advice based on a real scenario and situation, right? That's a benefit. The benefit of me providing notes afterwards is that they can always refer back to them and have that guide for future when they want to see if they're still on track. The benefit of me doing a one-to-one means that I give them all of my attention, and they can ask any kind of silly, private, crazy question that they want. Yeah, no hold bars, no bars hold, no holding back, right? So features is like the what, and the benefit is the wow. Okay, great. So once you figure out your product and how you present it, how you package it, your branding, all that kind of stuff, you got to figure out what the price is. So you might have come in thinking, I'm going to be top quality, I'm going to be fantastic. And then you're a brand new startup, you do everything DIY. It's like, it's okay. It's pretty good. But I don't feel confident that I can offer this at the highest price in the market. So maybe I'm going to bring my price a little bit down. Or quite often, a lot of startups I work with go to the extreme, and this might be something to think about. Andrew Griffith has a great book called Someone Has to Be the Most Expensive. And it kind of reminds us that you know what, if you're doing this right, if you're providing a solution to a problem that people genuinely have and are desperate to solve, and you are amazing at doing that, then why are you not charging a much higher price? Why are you not charging $1,000 instead of $200 to do that amazing full day coaching with them, or that 3-week online course with them, or whatever it is? You know what I mean? So your pricing strategy absolutely has to fit with the way you present yourself, the benefits of the product, and really the value. So I would have in the past said pricing was all about what does it cost you, what's the market, do a comparison, what's the profit margin potential, where do you sit, how do you compare? And nowadays, I think, really it's about the value you provide. So, for example, say it is coaching, just going on the coaching example, and you might be coaching in any sort of industry or health or well-being, whatever it might be. Say I came in and coached that, and they were like, ooh, $400 an hour, it's a bit expensive. You go, well, you know what? How long have you been doing this business? 3 years, 4 years, and you still haven't cracked 6 figures. Maybe it's time to spend $400 an hour for someone to actually get you over the hump and get you results. And if you don't get results, I won't charge you. Yeah. So there was a really interesting gentleman I met who did similar to what I did, but he worked with kind of this kind of troubleshooting kind of consulting, and his method of pricing was really interesting, and it was something I wish I'd tried from time to time. You go into a business, they have a challenge, and you say, right, what are you turning over at the moment, or what's your revenue for the month, per month, or per year, or whatever? Okay, great. I'm going to come in, I'm going to do some strategies for you, I'm going to fix this up, I'm going to get you the results you want, but I get 40% of all the uplift on your turnover or profit, or whatever it was. Turnover or profit, those are very, very different. I can't remember which it was. I think it was a percentage of the uplifted turnover, but don't quote me, it was a while ago. And I thought, well, that's a very low risk pricing strategy, right? So every time someone spends money with you, they are evaluating the reward versus the risk. Okay, so what value am I getting, and what is the risk of me spending that and potentially not getting that value? Yeah, that's always the question with someone who doesn't know you. They don't know you, they don't trust you, because it's just not there yet. You haven't earned it, and that's a fair call. So having this kind of idea of pricing to be zero risk, as in, you know what, if nothing happens, you don't pay anything. Which is why there's lots of lawyers out there that, no win, no fee, and that sort of thing. Makes it very easy. Some online courses I've seen, it's $1 buy-in, and then you only pay, some like the full course fee, or over 2 or 3 months after the first 30 days. You've got basically 30 days to try it for $1. If you don't like it, get out of it, right? Zero risk. I will say this in terms of pricing, I would avoid discounting like the plague. Like, if you're going to do a promotion, a sales promotion to get people to buy more, I would always provide a bonus or additional value or something thrown into the mix, or access to something special over discounting. Because when you discount, you're cutting yourself at both ends. You're saying you're basically reducing your profit. You're not reducing your costs in any way. You're just reducing your profit when you discount. And on the other end, you actually lose future sales, because then people will wait. People know you discount now. Why would they pay full price if they suspect, if they hold out, you might do another sale in a month, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months? Some people will wait. So discounting is, I would say discounting is never a great strategy. You'd have to be kind of clearing out something quite significant. And even then, I would probably look for someone to take it as a bulk purchase or something like that. So discounting, the only time I would say discounting is an idea is as an introductory offer. introductory offer gives people the communication and the signal that this will finish. That's it. It's a first time, it's new to market, you know, like a beta course. A beta, BETA, means it's a first run. We're just going to test it out. I'm doing a bunch of those next year. So I might offer my course for like $500 as opposed to $2,500. Yep. And because it's an online course, all it's going to cost is my time, which is still valuable and worth something. But I'm willing to do that as an introductory, as a beta test, so that I can improve my course, improve my product, do this, do that. But never would I continually discount, because then I'm just kind of shooting myself in the foot. All right. Once you figure out your product, packaging, features, benefits, you come down to your pricing. You know, is it intro? Is it premium? What is it? Make sure you do actually cover all your costs. If you're not and you don't know that, you need to do some budgeting, which we'll get to at the end. Then we go into place. So place is like, where do people find this to buy it? So I'll give you an interesting example. I came across this beautiful gin called Imbimbis. It operates out of Ipswich in Queensland. And I saw it at a small business expo, and I tried it. I was like, oh, okay, I'll take some samples, I'll take them home. Well, I don't drink much, but I went through it fairly quickly. It was very nice. And I said to them, oh, by the way, you haven't actually said where I go and buy this after I've bought it at this exhibition. Like, where do I go and buy this gin if I want more? And they gave me like 2 or 3 places, and that was it. And I was like, don't make it easy for people. And their response was very, very logical. They were like, we can only produce so much. Selling through those places, those channels, we clear out all our stock. We have international awards. We don't need to have it stocked in 100 places, because it's operating exactly how we want it to operate. It's like, touche, yeah, fair enough. That's a good call. Did they want to grow? That's another conversation, not my business to say. But it's a matter of respecting that. If you don't want to grow to 5 million, 20 million, $1 million business, then then you don't have to worry about all this pressure to be available, all the time for everyone, everywhere, try and service every client, right? And you shouldn't, in a way. You need to kind of find your specialization and your uniqueness and who that is for. But what I will say about place is place has to match, right? So, for example, there was a guy runs a very, very good quality business course, and he does, well, pre-COVID, he would do 3 4-day conferences through the year. So every quarter he would do a 3 or 4 day conference, and then there'd be some home study and things like that. And he used to try and sell them as a webinar. So you do a webinar and then you try and buy into the live course, and you have to go to Sydney and all this kind of thing. Some of you might know the one I'm referring to. And he said, you know what, we tried that, and actually it didn't work. So what was happening is, if he had been doing a webinar leading to an online course, those places and those marketing channels match, right? But because he was doing a live face-to-face program, he figured out, and rightly so, that he had to go around the country providing a face-to-face workshop to sell from, right? They had to match. So people who wanted to go to face-to-face wanted to have a face-to-face program. People who only want to go to a webinar really just wanted to do a course online. That's kind of how it works. So if you are selling through social media, for example, there's a lot of pressure on social media. I get it. But if you don't sell through social media and then people have to seek you out, especially if you're like a service-based business. So I found this recently, one of my clients, wonderful lady, beautiful work, service from home. And she's growing her marketing, her social channels, which is great. But what she was finding is people would want to book with her, and they're like way out of town or across town or something like that. So because she was a very location-specific business, while social media is good for awareness, at the same time, she'll have to pick some like almost subgroups within the social media. So maybe attach herself to some locality-based groups to interact and connect with clients and things like that. Or probably more likely, the socials are a great brand exercise, but and to showcase the work. But reality is probably getting yourself a website and getting on Google Maps and being found locally would be a better place to have people find her and access her, right? Which brings me through to promotion. This is the last P in the mix. Doesn't sound right, does it? So promotion is all about, like you would typically think of marketing, advertising, promotions, you know, letterbox drops, phone calls, brochures, sales presentations. It's all that kind of stuff. And somewhere in here, you can also decide to have a campaign. So promotion is usually the bit where we take everything else and go, right, we want to have a campaign. We're going to create a limited event, not necessarily an event as in people get together, but a limited campaign to promote something specific, but it still has to match all the 4 Ps, right? So there's no sense, like I said, there's no sense doing a huge promotion to give away stuff for free if you don't have it in stock. There's no sense giving away stuff for free if people are going to buy it across the country and it costs more than the product to post it to them or whatever it might be. Or there's no sense doing a campaign for live workshops if you're in an area that's constantly plagued by COVID outbreaks or whatever it might be, right? So, so your campaign has to match everything else happening in your business and everything else happening in your 4 Ps. Okay. Any questions about the 4 Ps? No? All right, great. If you have any questions, remember Rhonwyn at businessstation.com.au. That's RHONWYP. WYN. Can't spell when I'm looking at the P's. RHONWYN at businessstation.com.au. All right, so now I'm going to take you across my digital space and I'm going to show you a marketing template. I think it's good for you to understand the options. So, like I said at the beginning, you can absolutely make a 30-page marketing plan and then grab an A4 page and just make yourself a little cheat sheet to refer to, stick it up on your wall and look at that. I'll also show you how to, after we look at the template, and I'm only going to flick through it very quickly because it does have a lot of instruction in it. I'm mostly just going to show you the content so you can see what kind of things go into it, right? So let me find this. So this one I'm sharing with you, right? This one is from the Australian government. So you can go to business.gov.au, that's .gov.au, and you will find this marketing plan. If you are in Queensland, Western Australia, Northern Territory, most business or economic development units in your state or local council, quite a few of them will have free business templates, marketing templates, things like that. So you can always ask them. But for this one, this is from Australian government, right? So this is the link. You can see that there. business.gov.au/marketing plan will also get you to the spot to download this template. Right, so what goes into a marketing template? Now, this is some standard stuff, goes into a business template as well, like basically saying, what is this business we're having a look at? And who is responsible for it? And we've got some key details around, like, do you have any websites? What are they? I don't know why this is on the first page, but I guess it's so that if anybody's reading this, they can go check it out. To be clear, one of the main reasons you would do a large plan like this, so this is 16 pages just as the template. So by the time you're done with it, it's probably over 20 at least, maybe even up to 30, depending on how much detail and research and attachments and things you do. So one of the main reasons I have people come to me for business plans is because they're going to go get finance. Yep. So a lot of planning takes place when people go, oh, someone else wants to look at this and has asked for it. And then before that, it's a bit like, oh, well, I've got an idea in my mind or I've scribbled on paper. Yeah, I do that a lot too. Like you see, I've got a new logo I'm working on. It's a lovely post-it there. This massive post-it pile. And I use post-its a lot for planning, actually. So why do I use post-its for planning? Sounds a bit weird, but I'll tell you what, I can grab this without knocking anything over. I do all my planning over there. So this is ignore the brand. This is just my husband's in science, so he brings home all these sorts of free post-its and pens and things like that. But grab any kind of post-its. I quite like a smaller one too, maybe a quarter of the size of this. And what I do is when I'm thinking about, okay, I use it for planning out. What do I use it for planning out? I use it for planning out campaigns. I use them for planning out events coordination. I use them for planning out my online courses. I use them for planning out any kind of process I want to do. And the reason I use them is because you can move them around and shuffle them. And if your cat jumps onto your table, it won't blow away. So something that sticks and something you can write clearly on. And what I'll do is I might say, so say I'm planning out an online course and I realize this, well, let's do a marketing campaign for the interest of this topic. I might be like, right, my goal is 10K in course enrollments for the month, right? Which is very low. That's probably like half a dozen enrollments, something like that. If I take into account like affiliate marketing, depending on what strategy I'm going to use, maybe I need a little more. But I'll put my goal on the first one, pop it at the top of the line. Usually I use like my dining table or something like this. I've tried using walls. Walls are okay if walls are super clean, but if you got even an ounce of dust, they just start falling off from gravity. So use a table. Also, I might use like an annual planner. So you get a very big 1-page annual planner, which are usually like an A1 or probably like an A1 size or even an AO size. And I put the post-its on there based on where they are on the calendar when I'm going to do stuff. And that means I can move them around. So because what will happen is by the time you've written out on your paper, oh, I need to do this, suddenly you're like, well, I have to shuffle these around now because I've got this out of the wrong way. And, I have to do this before this, and I need to allow 6 weeks before then lead time to start selling this. So post-it notes are a great little sneaky planning tool to get on board. Just put out every single little task or step that you need to do in order to achieve your goal or your process or your campaign. And then you can put them in the right order and start putting dates on them of when you're going to actually do them, which I would highly recommend putting dates on everything, due dates or start dates, whatever works for you, to really keep an eye on your productivity as well. Okay, so I use these for planning because then I can come in here, refer to my plan and map out my campaign. But if we're thinking about top level planning, which is like, what is the overarching plan for my business? We're going to look at the key parts of my business. So this is the contents page, and I'm showing you this because this tells you what's in the template, and this is almost as far as I'm going to go. So for this particular template, we've got all the business details, which you saw. We've got a summary of the business. Now, what is the vision, mission, products and services, SWOT? So a SWOT, S-W-O-T, if you haven't seen that before, that is it's not letting me highlight that now. That stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunity, and threat. So a SWOT analysis is used in quite a lot of planning and analysis, and the reason is it's what we call a situational analysis. So it's the basic way to look at what's happening inside and outside your business that's going to affect your plans. So for example, I might have a strength that my knowledge is fabulous and people love me. I don't know, maybe not. But my weakness is I've got no budget for my marketing, right? Now, the reason they're a strength and a weakness is those two things are totally within my control for the most part. I can't control if people like me, but I can control how I behave around other people and if I do the right thing. Sometimes yes, sometimes no, but always with good intentions. But opportunities and threats are things that happen outside the business, like government mandates, restrictions. Maybe you have a client or a competitor in the industry that's looking for subcontractors. That's an opportunity. It's not a threat. It's like, hey, let's go. If you can't beat them, join them. Things like that. So they're things that opportunities and threats are things that you can't really control, but they're there, and you can either face them and put a strategy in place for them, or you could bury your head in the sand and hope that nothing happens. Probably not a planning thing, though. If you're planning and you're looking at straight on the piece of paper, probably best to do something about it. All right, then we go into the market. Now, it clearly says their market research. I can read that, okay? All right, market research, for obvious reasons, or maybe not so obvious reasons, is a critical part of your marketing plan, okay? We'll come to that in a minute. But understanding who is our target market, what are they doing? A target market is a term we use for, when we think of the market, it sounds like a bit of an overused term, but the word market really comes from being a little town. And, for me, my heritage is English. And, it's a classic kind of, you have a courtyard, an open area in the middle of the town. The shops are all around there where they sell their wares. And you'd have a market cross in the middle of the courtyard where on a certain time, on a certain day, or even every day of the week at a certain time, all the traders and merchants would meet at the one place, and everybody knew to go there to find what they need, right? The market. And that is the legacy of the word market that we use today. It is the environment and the space, be it virtual, online, across the globe, across the country, across your council or whatever it might be. That is your space that you maneuver in, and you can find people wanting to buy, and you're also rubbing shoulders with all the other merchants and traders and businesses and consultants and professionals, everybody who operates and works through and maneuvers through that market, right? So that's the market. You've got to keep that in mind, of everybody who kind of goes through buying and selling in that space. That's your market. The target market, or what we also call the target audience when we get to marketing communications, is the specific type of people we want to target. All right, and I'll get back to that we're going to go through some slides in a minute. It's just to keep in mind, and I want you to really have this in your mind with your marketing. If you want to speak to everybody because you think everybody will buy your product, you will miss it. You'll miss the point. And that's why I said in the cycle, it's okay to have a uniqueness and a specialization. And I do this for you. Now, people of and I struggle with this too, right? So I specialize in startups. And people go, what does that mean? I'll go, well, I work with people who are either just about to start, or they have started, or they're in the first few years of operations. And they've still got a lot of gaps in what they know about running their business, how they operate their business, and how they market their business. And I come in and I provide that third-party viewpoint and that knowledge base to see where the gaps are and help them with that. So I specialize in startups. Now, I can, but I don't focus on existing businesses operating for 30 years who want to scale up to some franchise or something like that. I know that process. I know where to send them. I know how to get them going on that. That's not my specialty. It's not something I'm passionate about, although it's very cool. It's not my passion. It's not my purpose. It's not my why. It's not connected to my why. My why is all about financial independence and, taking control of your destiny. Sounds a little woo-woo, but you know what I mean? Like really, really having control over your financial independence. And if you've got an idea, supporting someone to grow that idea and make it into something, because I think there's a lot of naysayers out there in the startup space. They'll go, oh, that'll never work. Well, I'm not an oracle. It's not my job to tell you if it works. It's my job to tell you how it can work. So that's my specialty. But, you know, for you, you have to find your specialty. Just because your problem that you solve could be anybody, that doesn't mean everybody's going to buy it. Just like if you walk into a supermarket, you don't buy every brand of deodorant, right? You choose one that fits you and is uniquely a good fit for you, and that's the one you buy. You don't buy every one off the shelf, right? It just doesn't happen. You got to think about your products and services in the same way. It's totally okay if a whole bunch of people don't buy from you, because all you need to do is talk to the target audience, the target market, who will want to buy from you, and that's it. Okay, goals and actions. What are we going to do? What are our strategies for all the P's? So this is the other P's, like people and all that kind of stuff. And then finances. So of course you have to have a budget, all right? So you can go through this. You can download this document. So business.gov.au/marketing plan, or just go to business.gov.au and search marketing plan on the website. And this is just one example. Now, if I go, I'm going to show you a little trick. I'm in Microsoft Word right now, but you can also go onto your search engine like Google and search Microsoft templates, and you can download it and then open it up into Google Docs or whatever other program you're using. So you don't have to have Microsoft Office to access free Microsoft templates. I'm going to go new, and I want you to take note of this search template, the search bar. Okay. So this is where I might put, there's an option for business. I'm going to put marketing, if I can. And you're going to see that there's going to be some marketing plan templates here. Let me see. Marketing resume. Ooh, maybe not. I'm sure I've seen them here before. Tactical business marketing plan. There you go. So this is one you can get in Word. And if I'm just going to say create so I can show you. Just make sure I am actually sharing that. So hopefully that was shared. So blank, search for new, search marketing plan document. And this is the option it came up with. So this is 5 pages. And again, shorter, simpler. Okay, who's your target market? What is your message that you want to communicate to your target market so they come buy from you? What is your call to action? Like, what do you want people to do when they find you? What is your sales process and follow-up processes? How do you qualify if they're the right people for you? Is there a project? So necessary event resources, blah, 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 which would be more for like a campaign. That's what it means by project. We often, like, managing a marketing campaign is the same process and skill set for marketing a project. So if you learn a little bit about project management, enjoy that. You know, and what do we measure? So we always do research, we always do measurement. If you don't really know if your marketing is working. Campaign sign off by about 20 million people on a 5-page document. Why not? Okay. So this is kind of the type of document. I'll just go back to the other one. Okay. So this is the other one, the government. Unique selling point, vision, mission, product, services, SWOT, right? All the stuff we talked about. You can go through this in your own time. I don't think we have enough time to really make a marketing plan today. But I promote this marketing plan template because it is quite instructive. Okay. And it's not too long. Okay. And it'll say, you know, what are all these things? So if you come across any terms that, like channel, people are like, what is channel? Channel just means, where do you find them? Is a channel social media? See, they've even got some options here. It's great little tool. You know, costings, things like that. Now they do have links to other templates, like financial templates, which would be like your balance sheet, profit loss, cash flow, budget forecast, all that kind of stuff. Got a basic marketing budget here, and all you do is say, right, radio advertising. Am I going to do radio advertising? Don't knock radio advertising, still very, very effective. What am I going to spend on it? Now this is a picture. So Not sure how you type into this. I guess you got to download the template first. Just a second. All right. So coming back, if I can get to the. All right. So how critical is research? Very critical. I can't stress this enough. If you take actions based on stuff you haven't actually proved is correct, which are otherwise known as assumptions, you're going to be a little bit caught out. Okay. I'll give you an example. If I was to say I had an idea for a physical product, okay, and I was like, I know exactly what this product needs because it's for me as well. Well, that might be so, but that is based on an assumption that the way you use that type of product is the same as the majority of people use that product. Now, could you make a product for a small slice of the market, like 10,000 people, and that's all it'll ever sell? Yeah, sure, why not? Nothing wrong with that. The only thing that I'd say is the difficulty with that is it might cost you $10,000. Say it's a plastic item or something, it might cost you $10,000 just to get the mold made even before you start production. And if you don't do any checks and research into whether it has the right shape, size, usability, functionality before you spend that money to get the full mold made, and then it's wrong, you're going to be very much out of pocket. So research can happen in different ways. You absolutely can get a prototype made and then go and get it tested, go and get some feedback from the marketplace, people who will potentially buy it, all that kind of stuff. You could also, do a survey. How many people use this? Would you use this? What would you want out of it? What are the functions? What are the features, basically, that you would want it to have? That sort of stuff. The other thing is about researching competitors. So researching competitors, there's a little bit of talk sometimes around, I don't want to be looking at what everyone else is doing. I just want to do my own thing. And I would agree to a certain extent. I do think that if you are onto a winner, and it's very different against the norm that everyone else does, that's okay, totally okay. At the same time, wouldn't you want to be still well informed about what the other competitors are doing? Do you know what I mean? Like, to give you an example, and I use this example sometimes. I remember an episode of Shark Tank. I don't know if some of you may not have seen that show. It was a show on, I think, Channel 10, maybe, depending on where you are. It's a show where it's replicated around the world. TV show, you get 4 or 5, cashed up entrepreneurs who form a panel, and someone comes in and does a pitch on their business to get investment, like capital raising, and it's all very, and then they take turns picking it apart and finding flaws in their business model, and or they might go, oh, this is fabulous, I see the potential for this, blah blah blah, I will invest for a 10% stake of your business. And so on. So there was one lady came on, and I remember her very distinctly. She came on with something called a tongue scraper, so I don't want to gross anyone out, but essentially it was like a plastic rod. She'd had, like the example, it was a plastic product. She'd had it specially designed and made. She'd already manufactured a whole bunch of them, and it was a 2-handed one that you scrape down your tongue. And the questioning starts like, why would you even need something like this? So 5 panelists sitting there, 4 of them had never even heard of the product before. One of them, who had done extensive travel, was like, oh yeah, I've seen this. There's a lot of countries where this is the norm, and I use it myself. I use one for this. And then he said, well, but at the same time, you can now buy toothbrushes that have a tongue scraper on the back. So why would I spend extra money to get a separate item to do it? And this is where it comes into doing a little bit of research on the things we're about to quickly go through. Because if you jump to the conclusion that no one else is doing my product, no one else is doing my service, therefore there is a need for it in the market, you're kind of skipping a step. So when you are trying to promote your products and services, if you're really struggling with your marketing, sometimes it can be because you're missing the point. You're seeing your competitors as not offering the same thing as you, and you're missing the idea that they're not doing your product or service, but they are offering something that solves the problem and it's cost effective, right? So if you're going to bring something else to market, there has to be great drive and motivation and still a very big need to fulfill in order to get someone to make that additional purchase, right? So as well as that, research can be internal. So there's what we call primary competitors and secondary competitors. So a primary competitor is one I refer to that does exactly what you do. Exactly the product, exactly the service. Might be slightly different to you, but that's the same solution. Secondary competitor is a organization, person, company, whatever, that provides an alternative solution that still is a solution. It still solves the problem you're trying to solve, but just in a different way. And it's already available, ready to buy, people buy it, right? So think about those. Now, when it comes to research, we also consider it as primary and secondary research. So primary research is where you make up your own survey. You go out to the market and say, hey, can people, I'll give you $100, go in the drawer for a ticket to the movies, whatever. Can you do my survey, please? I'm trying to figure out if this is what you need. Okay. Primary means you do it yourself, basically. You get the raw data. Secondary research is where you go online and you look for other research that people have done, which is quicker, easier. It's just you have to make a good judgment over whether that research is relevant to what you're doing. So for instance, if I came across some research about failure statistics, which I hate, if I came across failure statistics for startups, I would have to make a judgment call on how old is that data? What was the purpose of that data? Is it relevant to me and what I'm trying to look for? Should I use it? Things like that. So something I figured out about failure statistics is they come from kind of one type of research. It's like looking at pluses and minuses and making a lot of assumptions about what happens in the middle. So I'm not a fan of failure statistics. I think they're very inaccurate and misleading myself. So if I came across that, I'd be like, right, well, is this something I want to share with my startup community? Does it lead me to see that, it shows that, they think 40% is due to financial difficulties. Maybe I should do a course about doing your finances in a startup. Yeah, it might lead me, that research might show there's a need. But also you got to look at where did that research come from? Who made that research? Why did they make that research? It's kind of like a chocolate company making research into why chocolate is great for your blood or something like that. Like, well, is there some bias there? Maybe. So how do we research? That is probably a better question. Let me go back online. Where's my online? All right, new tab here. I should be sharing that. Whoops, sorry. Where is my tab? Yes, good. Sorry, at the same time, I've accidentally gotten into something else. There we go. All right, hopefully you've seen that. So what am I going to Google? So say I want to Google about wellness courses online. So what's coming up? I'm going to see some competitors. I'm going to see some free stuff. I'm going to see, certificates, diplomas. Eventually I'll probably come across articles. What are the top ones? What are the best ones? What are the worst ones? How many pages in Google would I go? As many as I need, right? I will say this, when you're doing competitor research, and this is for people in Australia, you might have an alternative if you're out of Australia. I would actually recommend Yellow Pages. Yeah. And the reason I recommend Yellow Pages is because every business, and if you don't know this for your marketing, you still get a free listing in Yellow Pages. Okay. It's another link back to your website, back to your directory, all that kind of stuff. If you are really young and you have no idea what Yellow Pages is, it is, I probably even have one here because I still use them to call businesses and that. It basically was a yellow book that had a listing of every business in your area, like Brisbane. And White Pages was the alternative, which would be all the housing and, you know, people in your area. So before, you know, you grab mobile numbers and that, whatever, you would look someone up on White Pages in the book, find their surname, find their first name. I'm feeling really old right now explaining this, but anyway, the reason I say Yellow Pages over Google is because Google, as an example of a search engine, use whichever one you like, Google shows you who has the best website, not who has the best business. Okay, you've got to understand that distinction, and this is for your own marketing as well. If you want to be found on Google, for example, you have to do what's called search engine optimization or search engine marketing, so SEO or SEM, and that will be how you get found. Now, for the purposes of your outbound marketing and people finding you, I would absolutely get a website. I would absolutely invest in some skills in SEO, which we have in the Digital Solutions program. There's some great online workshops and webinars on SEO. But for your research, I would come to Yellow Pages. All right. So this will tell you actually who's in my area. So if I did wellness clinic in, I don't know, goodness, the suburb that's already there. Let's try that. Local wellness clinic, right? So what is it showing me? There's a job fit, interesting. Pre-employment medicals, chiropractor, general medical, skin management, cosmetics, beauty clinics, lash, brow, all stuff. You're welcome, businesses I'm showing right now. But what it shows me, right, is some basic info about this business and that they're in my local area, right? So if I do the same search on Google, wellness clinic in Goodna, let's see what it comes up. It might come up with exactly the same stuff, or I don't know. Let's have a look. Okay, medical center, Kimura Massage and Wellness Center, community health, the hub, women's wellness center. This is all different stuff that I saw, right? Okay, so chiropractic, Kenmore clinics, right? You see what I mean? These are ones that are genuinely within a distance to me, whereas these are who is got some good SEO for wellness clinic term in Goodna, right? So when you do your research, just be a little bit smart about it and figure out where does that information come from and is it actually relevant to my business, okay? There's also, don't forget there are maps. I'm just using Google because 96% of people use Google, something like that. But you can use Bing or whatever search engine you want, okay? I'm not endorsing one over another. What else is there? Let's have a look. Finance, books, videos, right? So what books are there for wellness clinic in Goodna? Acupuncture, obstetrics, get well, drummers. What was that? When the drummers were women. Interesting. Also, I can go Google Scholar. Getting there eventually. Google Scholar or scholar.google.com is going to research articles. So not necessarily news articles, but more like database articles and case law. So if I was looking for some significant research because I was writing a book or a really great blog article or some marketing planning. So if I just put in marketing strategy, theory. Yeah, it's going to show me some modern theories, some approaches, multi-market competition, strategic marketing, relationship marketing, hotel marketing. You get me? Just make sure I'm sharing it actually. That's good. This is scholar.google.com.au. So I would use this and Yellow Pages and normal Google search for a lot of my research for creating some data. Now, this is really great for some more highbrow kind of research to go into planning, especially if you need to show the plan to someone else. You know, I do it a lot for if I'm developing a program or a course or a book. You know, I want some really solid, hardcore research. I don't necessarily want content marketing. So if I go back to Google, and I type marketing strategy theory, it's probably going to show me a bunch of content marketing, right? So great, there's some books. I've got to go and hang on. So 6 marketing theories, marketing strategy theory from Ad Central, marketing theories explained, 5 marketing management theories. That you get what I'm saying? These are blog articles, which could be very good, but you have to look at the source, right? So professionalacademy.com, what do? Why are they good enough and knowledgeable enough and an authority to talk about marketing theory? Yeah, got to ask yourself this question. Theoretical aspects of marketing, that's probably from another country, which is fine. Smart people all over the world. Agility, PR, yep, 7 Ps, core marketing theory, which is just the extension of the 4 Ps. See, this is in public relations, you know what I mean? Like, you got to look at why people write content and what it's for. So is this blog to educate? Could be. Are they an authority to give that education? Could be. If I saw, for example, you know, like HubSpot and a lot of programs have really great blog articles in their industry, right? Or Neil Patel and people like, you know, brands like that. But if it was like my local nail clinic doing an article on marketing theory, I'd want to be checking out their marketing strategies and why they think they're top of the game to give that advice, right? So you got to look at the source. All right, and how recent it is as well. So something that's this year, last year, probably fine. When you're getting back over 5 years for any kind of research and theories, you have to kind of just check if it's the most recent, if anything's contradicted it, because marketing evolves actually just like tech evolves. All right, we're going to run out of time. Let's go back. Okay, so that is looking at research. So this is the core of marketing. Now, if you want to take some notes at this point, I would fully encourage that. So if you're watching back the recording, just pause, grab yourself a pen, paper, or open up a little Word doc or another writing doc to the side, and answer these questions as we go. So this is not pertaining specifically to any kind of marketing template. These are just what I, as a, you know, working with startups for a long time, and I have a marketing degree, this is what I think modern marketing, these are the questions and the things you have to kind of answer and satisfy in order to get to your core marketing concepts, okay? So the first thing in marketing is defining what exactly the problem is you're going to solve. Now, I've got a lovely icon of an iceberg. If you want to know what that is, that's an iceberg. The reason being is that usually the problem that we see is kind of on the surface, right? Everything we see and observable is kind of on the surface. But we have to understand whether that is actually what's happening underneath. Like, what is actually the cause of that problem, right? So, for example, I often get people stressed about social media as a marketing strategy. I have to use social media. I've got to get on social media. I've started my social media. I want to get more sales through it. It's like, well, what is that the problem that you want me to help you solve? Or is that a symptom and an observable thing that you've come up with based on the problem you actually have? So if people come to me stressed about social media, the first thing I want to know is, well, what are you using your social media for? Yeah. So just in that example before where I said it's a local home-based service, are you trying to use your social media for sales, or are you trying to use it for branding, for showcasing, for content? What are you using it for? If you're using it for sales, then yes, there probably are some tactics and ways to use your social media to get sales still in your local geographic area, which could be around paid ads or retargeting or something like that. But is that still even the problem? Like, I might dig a little deeper and I find, oh, actually, that you're getting enough leads through, you're just not selling them, or you're getting sales through and you're doing the service, but no one's coming back to you, right? So you're going to look at, this is why marketing is from the inside out and all, and cycles back through, defining what exactly you're using your marketing for, what messages you're sending out into the world, who you're trying to talk to, like who you're trying to communicate that marketing to, why they're coming to you, and whether your solution is actually solving that problem. It's all part of the game. It's all got to be thought about. So do your research, look at your competitors, what's currently solving that problem, not your exact solution, but what else is solving that problem, and decide if there's a criteria that a buyer might follow in order to choose your solution. So for example, people make choices based on comparison, absolutely, which is why quite often you see sales pages with 3 different price points. It's like, no, you don't need to compare us to someone else to make a choice. You just have to choose between the 3 different packages that we have. You understand? So it's very important to understand what is the problem you're trying to solve, and then who is actually your target audience, your people. All right. Now I give the little icon of what would be assumed the mom and the child. Could be grandma, who knows. And the reason I use this example is because if I was making a product or a toy for a child, my marketing, I have to decide whether my marketing is actually going to communicate with the child. Because at the end of the day, that child probably doesn't have any money to buy anything, right? I'd be a pretty flushed up child with great pocket money, or savings account or whatever, to come and buy my $59 toy or whatever, right? It's probably not going to happen. Now, you might put the parent in a position where you do market to the child, and you market in a way that makes the child so desperate for the product, the parent or whoever's on the guilt trip will buy it for them just to keep them quiet. Okay, I'm a parent, I get that. But at the end of the day, as a parent, I look at some of these ads for toys as an example, and I go, well, it's expensive. It has very little functionality. It's not really teaching my kid anything useful. So it's colorful, but that's about it. And I have to ask, in terms of value for money, I'm not going to compare that toy dinosaur to other toy dinosaurs necessarily. I'm probably going to compare that toy dinosaur to every other toy, right? Because the goal I have as a buyer, as a parent, is to get my kid engaging with a toy that they're going to want to play with long term, probably, right? So we have experience as parents, like buying a toy, they use it for a day, they loved it at the shops. Every time we go to the shops, they'll drag and then makes a noise, and they giggle for like hours just watching this thing. Finally commit to buying it, get it home, they couldn't care less, because all it does is the same thing over and over again. It makes a little noise, it bounces up and down, and that's pretty much it. You know what I mean? So when you are providing your solution to whoever it is, think about who is actually going to pay for that product. So I get the same thing with startups and startup courses. I get a certain market of startups that perhaps are ex-corporates on redundancy packages, or they're a partnered couple, and one person has quite a stable income, and the other one is looking for to create a side hustle, a creative outlet, or grow a business. And they've got a little bit of money to spend. But I also, something I'm passionate about is working with vulnerable groups, which is like people who are at risk of homelessness or, have been long-term unemployed, things like that. I'm going to be honest, there's not a lot of money in that. So I provide it knowing that's not a profitable group to sell to. I do it because it's part of my why. But when I do my marketing, I'm not going to spend marketing dollar promoting a product to someone who's never going to pay for it. I need to spend my marketing dollar selling to a group of people who are most likely to pay for it. Hope that makes sense. So understand what they have in common. So for my example of working with startups, there's no real common demographic for a startup group. Like I've got 9-year-olds, I've got 80-year-olds, I've got men, I've got women, I've got mums, I've got, you know what I mean? These people don't really have anything in common. But what they do have in common is they usually have a creative streak, an entrepreneurial streak. They're a bit, they like to dream big. They're looking to earn money. It's these kinds of commonalities that help me define my group, right? Now, so we do have some other workshops on like buyer persona and things like that. So you can investigate. Sorry, my light fell down for a minute. It's back. So you can investigate those other ones and buyer personas, which talk about how do you make like a customer avatar and things like this. So an avatar, if you've seen the movie, it's basically kind of a shell format that that helps you describe your ideal customer. Like Geeta loves sewing and colorful things and likes to do craft work, and therefore will do my scrapbooking for something, right? You kind of get to describe what this person is, and you give it kind of, you kind of are making a person to communicate your marketing to, rather than a mass of people, which makes your wording and your language very untargeted. Yeah. So there's some other workshops on that if you like. Next is think about the product. So what is the problem you're solving? Who is actually going to buy from it? Where you're going to spend your marketing and your product development, and then define the attributes that you need to meet the potential criteria that buyer is going to use to buy from you, right? So if you're selling a premium product, it's got to have beautiful packaging. If you are, selling a premium service, well, you better have bloody good customer service and follow up and, hey, is everything all right? And what else can we do for you? All that kind of stuff. Because nobody wants to pay lots of money and feel like they didn't get that special vibe and that wow factor and that, that good treatment, right? So also sourcing your materials, suppliers. Be mindful in this day and age, you need to have multiple sources for your stock. Supply chains are a little bit tricky at the moment. You've got a lot of container ships sitting in the ocean waiting to dock because the ports keep being closed down and things like that, which makes a huge queue, which makes huge import costs and things like that. So if you are creating a very unique product, make sure you do have the ownership of the IP and the design and the specifications to make that product. So for instance, if you can't get it from overseas for a time for any reason, you can make it locally. Likewise, if your local supplier gets shut down because of COVID lockdowns or something, or an outbreak, you have a secondary supplier either here or overseas or something. What is your risk management for that? Packaging, all the rest. So product is quite important for not just what it does, but how it does it, how well it does it, how much do people love to use it, things like that. Okay. And then your place. So coming back to that P, define where is it most convenient for them to find it and buy it. If you're doing a physical product, there's a lot of arguments for Amazon and Shopify at the moment, and even Etsy. I don't hear too much buzz about eBay. Gumtree is really for secondhand stuff. Even then, it's owned by eBay and Google, and it doesn't really, you're probably better off with Facebook marketplace. So Facebook has a marketplace. Google has a shopping merchant section. So how do I show you that? Hang on. Let me give you an example of that. Just very quickly. All right. It's going back to Google, and I'm on google.com. I'm going to say laptop, something, product. Okay. And here is shop laptop. Now these ads come up through having a Google Marketplace account, Google Ads account, whatever they want to call it now. And there's a section there where you can actually set up like a shopping store, and you can see even here there's a shopping tab. So if you have a physical product and you want it to be found directly on Google, you have to set that up. It's not automatic, but it can be done. It's not hard to do. You start by getting your products online on a website where people can buy it, and you get your Google My Business set up, which basically is when, if I was to go to Google and look up a particular business name, the panel comes up on the right showing what hours are they open, what's their address, what's their website, right? That's Google My Business. That's the listing for that. And then you can venture out and do like a merchant shop with Google. Okay, it's not what I'm going to cover in this workshop, so that's as much as I'm going to show you. But just know that that's an option for selling online. So this is all about place, right? If you're selling online, then look to connect your online store with online marketplaces, right? So Google Shopping is an online marketplace. Amazon is an online marketplace. Shopify, has to set up, and I'm pretty sure has an online marketplace. Say with Etsy, right? And eBay. So you just have to decide, where are your customers buying, right? So if your customers are going to buy a laptop on Amazon, well, do you want to list it on Google Shopping? Maybe, maybe not. Maybe you want to figure out Amazon Shopping. We do have workshops on how to do products on Amazon, and also Amazon has a whole Amazon Academy on how to do that. Okay, again, I'm not going to go through that in massive detail right now. But just make sure where you tell people about your product and where they can buy your product matches how they want to buy your product and where they're hanging out, right? So if it's an online product, make sure they can find it online. Sorry, if they're shopping on, if you know that they will shop online for it, make sure it is available online. Make sure it can be found online. Make sure it can be searched online, right? Got to match them up place to place. What is the most affordable, convenient place for people to buy it, and also affordable for you? When you sell online, that's a whole other process. Having e-commerce or an online store, that's a different workshop. But suffice to say, we can show you how to do that in the Digital Solutions program. So if you want to use the program for that, please do so. It's great idea. And then price. So I want you to take note of the very, very first point I've put here. And remember, as I'm going through this, please pause it, make your own notes. You will never, ever, ever satisfy everybody on your price. Never. Don't even worry about it. You set your price based on the value that someone is going to get out of your product or service. What is the problem you're solving? What is it costing them right now to not solve it? And how does that compare to buying your solution? Okay, I'm going to say that one more time. What is the problem you are solving? What is it costing that person right now to solve it, or to have that problem? Could be a negative, like lost sleep. I'm selling mattresses. They're losing sleep every night. Their work quality is down. They're never going to get a promotion. They're fighting with their spouse. They're frustrated with their children because they're not sleeping. I can sell you a $3,000 mattress that'll give you 8 hours full sleep guaranteed, 100-day sleep guarantee. You can send it back. Pay the price. You want it? You're losing thousands of dollars losing sleep. $3,000? Yeah, it might sound like an expensive mattress, but it's a really good mattress. And the value you're getting is an awesome night's sleep. And if you use the mattress method for selling that, you would calculate it out and go, well, look, it's $3,000, but this mattress is probably going to at least last you 10 years. So 3,650 nights from $10,000, you're basically paying $2-3 a day for a wonderful night's sleep. That could be one less coffee. That could be, you know, the joy and love that comes from great sleep, right? Mattress method. Your price should absolutely match your unique selling proposition and your position in the market. So if you are pitching yourself as a premium product, you should have a premium price, right? Now, we went through this the other day. We were doing a quote for someone to do some work in one of our businesses. And I was like, you never know what other people are going to quote, right? And I knew that the organization probably had a reasonable budget, but I never take advantage of that. So it's like, okay, what would really pay for this work to be done? What would we be happy to charge for this work, right? Doesn't matter who it is. And I priced it and I called a friend and I said, look, you've got experience with this organization. What do you think? And her very first comment to me was, Rhonwyn, I think that price is not right. I think they're going to look at that price and it's going to be knocked out because it doesn't look like it matches the value you've written about it. Okay. And it's great to get a second pair of eyes on that sometimes. So if you find that you think you've got great value and no one's buying, it could actually be because you're too cheap. It could be that you're too expensive. It could be that you're not communicating that value well enough that people understand the value you're providing, right? It all comes into play. So value and price. Warren Buffett, who's a billionaire investor and really picks how to spend his money, has this great quote, which a lot of people, use again and again, which is, price is what you pay, value is what you get, right? And this is the same reason why you don't discount. Don't discount if you don't, introductory offer, get you started, fine. Otherwise, don't discount. It's just it becomes a money pit. You lose all your profits, and you lose the value. People see it as less value. They go, "Oh, you're charging $5,000," but really, if you're discounting to $3,000, the value is at $3,000. That's how they're looking at it. Ensure your price does actually cover your costs to provide the product, but also have a healthy profit margin. You are in business to make money. Okay. You might have a social enterprise, you might have a not-for-profit, you might have a very modest aspiration to just earn a decent income from your business. It doesn't matter. The reality is, if you don't have profit or some sort of income on top of costs, you're just going to go backwards, right? Because costs will increase. Your time will have a value. But more so, I want you to take into account that in order to keep your business sustainable, not even growing, just sustainable, you need contingency money in the bank. You need to have money ready to make changes, ready to pivot, ready to hire someone and pay for that training, ready to do your own professional development, ready to change programs, ready to take your whole business online because you've got a lockdown, like ready to do additional marketing to tell people about stuff. If you don't have that extra margin to pay for that stuff, whether it's expected or unexpected, you will start to go backwards. So always make sure you've got a very healthy profit margin, no matter what type of business setup or structure or whatever you're using. And remember that you have to include things like tax and your overheads in your costings. So for example, if I have phone and internet, that's an overhead. It's not linked to any specific product that I sell, but it is a cost to my business. And if I don't remember that to apportion that little bit of costing in when I cost my products and services, again, I'm eating straight into my profit margin and I will go backwards. All right. So just take some notes on that and what you think for you is kind of a good price range. Okay. Promotion. So the way you communicate this unique selling proposition to your audience to gain awareness and then sales. Okay. When you are doing your marketing promotion and campaigns, keep in mind that at some point it has to lead to a sale. Okay, there's a lot of companies that will do branding. So doing some marketing based on just making people aware of your business. That's great. That's great. But that's not going to put money in the bank. So I want you to think about it in the reverse. So for example, if you wanted to start a business doing online courses, you're probably better off focusing on what is the outcome people are going to get from this course, like what pain point, problem, whatever your solution and your transformation and your stages or steps or whatever you're going to teach them, what outcome and result does it get for them, right? Focus on that in your messaging, promote that through your marketing communications, get them onto a sales page to buy enrollment into the course. You don't need a website, you don't need a brand, you don't need fancy colors, you don't need a logo, you don't even need the course built yet, as long as you are absolutely sure that this is a tried and tested method you're going to teach people. Okay, that's just an example, right? Same with Kickstarter. I'm going to show you very quickly Kickstarter for sales. I know we're going to get short on time soon, but I think it's important. So Kickstarter is a place where you could both gain some sales and promote your product. And it's really for product-based businesses, if I wanted to call it. Don't know that I've seen too many service-based businesses on here. Board games, projects, design and tech, fashion, bags, whatever. Okay. Kickstarter is like a crowdfunding campaign. So crowdfunding, like GoFundMe and that, some of those are to say, oh, someone has come down with some terrible thing. Can we please pitch in and help pay for this? Or the school needs a new school hall or stage, or someone vandalized the play equipment. Can we pitch in and do something, right? That's crowdfunding. Crowdfunding can also be used for startups. Kickstarter is a platform that uses it to help idea creation come to fruition. Okay, so let's see if I just go, it's probably going to show me some of the favorites. Let's see. There's a couple on here that I make fun of a little bit sometimes, like the Zen egg. It's one of my favorites. It's basically a wooden egg that they sell for like $40. It's about this big, and yeah, like in some regards, let me see if I can find it. Actually, now that I've said it, I'll see if I can find it. In some regards, if it's still here, might be gone now. It's brilliant marketing, right? Brilliant. This is the Zen egg. Oh, now there's a super egg. So the Zen egg is brilliant marketing because it's really just such a simple thing, right? So simple. And it's kind of, you know, it kind of showcases what Kickstarter is all about, which is, you know what, you've got an idea to make a product. All you need is kind of a prototype and a sales pitch, right? So a video, this is what it's about, this is what it does, this is how you can use it. You play with it, you hold it, you meditate to it, this is how we make it, all the rest, right? It's a wooden egg. All right, and this is where you can pledge to support. So you can, you can pledge like $1 just to support, and 39 people have pledged $1. Why not? You can pledge $18 or more and get a just one Zen egg made out of walnut wood, right? 829 people have backed that. So when we say backed, it means they will they are committed to purchase. Okay. We've got pear wood, maple wood, blah blah blah. Here we go. A duo packs, packages, 6 of them, basket, etc., right? So you can have a bunch of different packages in here for your product. And I'm going to bring you back to the top where it says okay. So what is the goal? So in Kickstarter, what you do is you say you have to have this is a pitch page, right? If you don't have a great pitch page, no one will ever buy it. but this is the place you can sell your product before you have manufactured your product, right? Amazing. What you do is you say, I have a goal of $2,200, okay? As long as this person who's doing the Zen Egg, as long as they meet that $2,200 goal, they will the campaign is successful. They will receive the funds and they can go make the product. So the goal should always be realistic and probably a little bit small, whatever's the minimum to do it, okay? But they have had, so they probably would have needed about 200 people to do this. Is that right? How's my math? 50 people? I don't know. Or maybe 100 people. Yeah, probably about 100 people, something like that. 100, 120 people. Sorry, I've been using my calculator so much lately, I'm getting lazy. So of 100 people they wanted to buy it to make probably a manufacturing run, they've had nearly 3,000. Okay. So this is why I say the Zen Egg, bless it, with Zen Egg. I find this like a kind of a ridiculous product to pay US 18, it's really like $25, $30 for what is essentially a nice wooden egg. And but marketing, 3,000 people are willing to buy it. Okay, this person made 100 grand. So Kickstarter.com, you can check it out. The reason I'm showing you this again is just to show you that there are different campaigns you can run, and some of them is, you've got to make sure it's for sales, right? If I was to run a branding exercise on Kickstarter, so maybe I'm not ready to sell on Kickstarter, I just want to showcase it, I might make the goal really high, or I might make it, I might have a few products ready to go, and I'm just going to sell like 5 or 6, then off I go. More likely, I probably have a campaign. Usually, if I want to do a proper marketing campaign, it's going to be targeted to attract a certain type of person for a certain type of product or offer. We usually say an offer, like buy 3 Zen Egg for $50 for Christmas. We will ship it to your loved ones with a signature handwritten message, right? That's an offer and a promotion and a campaign that you can package up. If I was just to sell the Zen Egg on its own, that's just the product, okay? So an offer is like something particular, the way you present and promote it, like how much and what do you get, that's the offer. A campaign is kind of the project you run to showcase the offer, communicate the offer, lead people to buy the offer and follow through on the offer, right? That's your campaign. So again, campaigns are all about getting out your post-it notes and going, right, what is the goal of the campaign for me? What is the product I'm going to use? What is my offer? And then I start start patching out on one post-it each. What are the steps I'm going to have to do to make that campaign? And where is it going? What channels, all the rest, right? So you might choose, and I'll be honest, if you're getting started, I would start doing marketing with one product, which I would call your flagship product. So your flagship product is the one main primary product or service you have in your business that is the most popular. It's a no-brainer to purchase. It's great value. You know it's a winner. People want it. That's your flagship, right? Everything else makes the flagship look good, basically. And you might get some sales from time to time, but your flagship is like 80% of your sales. Grab that flagship and then choose one channel or place and that people are going to want to buy it. So it could be Amazon, could be Kickstarter, could be your social media channel, it could be a social media group, could be a social media ad, could be a Google ad, whatever it is. Choose one. Choose one channel, one place to market it. Choose one offer to package and provide, all right? And one place to buy it, one sales channel to buy it, right? And then just work on that system, work on that process, measure that process. So practice your stepping out that campaign, practice creating that campaign, all the skills that go with, making a Canva image and putting a price on it, and connecting it to your website for sale, and how do you follow through and get alerted when someone buys it, follow through any email, just keeping it simple means that you can perfect your system for promotion through to sales, through to delivery and dispatch and all that, right? And allows you kind of tweak your time. So I'll be honest, the first time you do stuff, it's going to take double the time you think. Okay, so you think, oh, I'm going to whip down so in January, I'm going to do a 2-hour workshop on how to make a website, right? We're going to use a platform, probably Yola. I like Yola. We could do Google Sites, free as well. But I'm not going to do a WordPress website in 2 hours. Way too hard. So you got to choose your skill level and your method to do stuff. Don't worry about what people say you should do. Focus on the facts and the research of where people are, where you see them hanging out, where they're communicating, what do they want to buy from you. All right, here are some marketing tactics. I promised you a few tactics. You're going to have to finish up in a minute. So I showed this in quite a lot of workshops, actually, this little slide. And it's because, and I probably should work on growing this list, because this is not an exhaustive list by any means. But this is a list that shows us just some ideas. So these are promotional ideas. So I've said promotion. When I say promotion, I really mean promotional campaign when I say the word promotion here. So competitions, themed events, a referral campaign, bonuses on, a discount or incentive. So, when I say discount or incentive, it's really a limited time offer, and with a very, very clear that it's not to be repeated. Okay, you don't want to get people in that pattern. It could be creating a landing page, and a lead magnet. So a lead magnet, so maybe I'll just very quickly, because this is marketing for beginners, I'm going to very quickly go through each of these. Okay, so in the promotional area, a lead magnet is a free or very, very cheap kind of sacrificial, usually digital product that you attach and offer on your website in order to collect lead details. So the classic one is download my free ebook on 7 marketing tactics, and you have to put in your name and email address to get that ebook, right? So lead magnet prompts you to collect email addresses so that you can do email campaigns and sell to them later on. Likewise, it could be something like $7. So I'm about to put a lead magnet on my website over the summer because there's so many great incentives and wage subsidies for hiring new people. I already have a little PDF on going through like a huge range of what they are at the moment. And people keep asking me for it. So I'm like, all right, I think I'm going to turn this into a lead magnet. So I have to decide, am I going to do it for free on my website, or I'm going to charge maybe $7 or something, which it would just kind of trigger me to see who's really keen for this. And then from there, I might say, hey, do you want some coaching or consulting, or do you want to come into digital solutions, or, just stay on my email list, and when other stuff comes up, you'll get to know, stuff like that. Landing page is a one-page website with no menus and no footers. Very important. Okay, so some people try to do a landing page on their website. The reason we make a landing page separate to our website is so that people don't get distracted. Okay, so the landing page, or what we might call a squeeze page, is where we basically show one offer, and it doesn't matter where we're promoting that offer. We could promote it in 10 different places if we want, but it takes them to the one landing page to say, this is the great online course or retreat or whatever we're doing in February. You can register and pay here. It's absolutely, it's either going to be a lead magnet page where they get their download, or it's going to be more likely going to lead into a sales funnel where they register for the free webinar, and then there's an upsell to say, hey, do you want the workbook to go with that for $7? Oh, yes, please. Yep. Okay. Would you also like 3 hours of consulting for $500? No, thanks. That's a bit much. Okay, then it goes to a downsell. Okay, well, would you like 1 hour for the bargain price of $99? Oh, yes, please. That sounds good. And then we get to a final, cart and payment and everything like that, right? Discounts or incentives. So you know what a discount is, obviously, just reducing your price. Incentive is more like, if you buy now, you'll get this. If it's like the carrot. Incentive is like something to push people to buy now rather than later or things like that. Packages is when you take one product and you make it into multiple products as a package for one offer price. Bonuses is where, for example, we do this a lot with online courses where we might have 6 modules in an online course, but 2 additional modules are bonus modules. So they're not part of the core content. So it may be a program on how to start a business, and then we've got 2 bonus modules on how to market it for a startup, right? It's a bonus to entice you and provide extra value. Referral campaign is where you basically have a communication campaign to ask people who know you, past clients, potential customers, hey, we're incentivizing you to refer other business to us, which could be in the way of an affiliate program, which is listed a little bit lower down, where you get a commission. That's an affiliate program. It's a referral program with commission, which we do as well. Or I saw a great one, Heritage Bank. I don't know if they still do it. They used to do this one I saw where if you're an existing customer and you referred someone you know who doesn't bank with them to get a mortgage, they get a $250 voucher. You get a $250 voucher. And I thought that was a great campaign. It's a decent little chunk of money, and it kind of eradicates that guilt some people have. So sometimes I find people don't want to do my referral programs simply because, or a referral program simply because they're like, oh, it doesn't feel right to refer someone and get paid for it. I'm like, okay, well, you can refer them if you want and not get paid for it, or you could just get paid for it. Personal choice. But you can, different things. Themed events might be, for example, Business Station ran a themed event, which was a Christmas party for sole traders, and they did that in Perth, and that was a wonderful party. We had great feedback from that. But obviously at that event, it also gives Business Station this opportunity to tell all the attendees there about what does Business Station do? What is the digital solutions program, right? So the themed event is the Christmas theme for sole traders, and it's a promotion because it gets us in front of a whole audience of people who maybe have never heard of us, and we can pitch in a good way. Sales strategies, so different ways of closing. If you are really struggling to close sales or to promote or make phone calls and things like that, I highly recommend you partner with another business and cross-sell. This is not something I usually tell people publicly, but this is something I would promote in my startup courses to say, hey, yeah, it's really hard to sell yourself. It's really hard to sell your own products because you're just getting started and you don't have that confidence yet. And it's really hard to look at ourselves and go, you're amazing. Look in the mirror, you're amazing. That's really hard to do when you're starting out. As an employee, we've got all that backing. Suddenly we're out on our own. And it's like, oh my goodness, I don't know if I can do this. How do I call someone and pitch to them? Some of you have no problem with this. Granted, some people have big problems with this. If you're in the latter group, yeah, find a buddy, find a sales buddy and say, you know what? I think you're amazing and I'm going to tell people and I'm going to sell your stuff. And they go, well, that's great because I think you're amazing and I want to pitch your stuff. And you can kind of, it's not like you go out as a sales rep, although you could do that. It could be just phone calls. Like you get together once a week, say, these are the clients I really like to have as clients. Can you call them? And then you do the same. I'll do the same for you. Affiliate programs I've mentioned, it's a dedicated program where usually someone signs up, they get into a little affiliate portal, they can choose banners and links, and that gives them a unique link to send someone to a program or a product or a service to buy it. You can even join the Amazon affiliate program, which I think gives you about 10% on every sale. So I might just put a resource page on my website, throw up 100 books that I think are amazing, genuinely think are amazing, put the link to Amazon or Fish Pond or Booktopia or something, and make sure it's my affiliate link. And therefore, when people go, oh yeah, actually that book looks good, great review, Rhonwyn, thanks for that. I'm like, no problem. I'm going to get $3 every time you buy that, which doesn't sound like a lot, but for doing that page, which probably takes me half a day to do, well, it depends on how many books you list, or I might just do it periodically. I read a book. You probably can't see this off camera, but I've got bookshelves either side of this room, a bit of a book hoarder, and it's like shelves of marketing, shelves of psychology, all this kind of stuff. So if I love that book, I would happily, I already told you about a couple of books today, happily share them. Competitions, of course. Be aware with competitions, there are laws, like sweepstakes laws and things like that around competitions. You have to follow the law if you are having a competition to make it fair and equitable to participate, right? So you can't just throw up onto Facebook, hey, like me to win a $20 voucher. Well, if you use the word win, it implies competitive process, as in a competition, and you have to have terms and conditions, okay? So just be aware with competitions, great. You've got to get someone to write up your terms and conditions for a competition. All right, let's move down to publicity very quickly. Media release is where you write basically a news article that you then provide to an actual media outlet, and they will publish it as their own article. They might still have you as the author, but they'll publish it as their content, right? So Sky News, Dynamic Business, Medium, you can, but really we're talking about the major media channels. So mass media, newspapers, all that kind of stuff. There is actually a great website, which I'll let you know. It's called Source Bottle. And when I say source, I mean SOURCE, then bottle.com.au. It's an Australian one, and you can list yourself as a source. So if you are an authority in your field, or you've written a book or whatever on something that's amazing, I would highly recommend putting up your profile there so that media outlets can find you and interview you and put you in shows and things like that. So that was sourcebottle.com.au. Love that. Love that. Database marketing. So I might go to another business or a chamber, although they're not really keen on that. Some other group that has a database of existing customers. Usually it would be another business. Okay, if you're just starting out. If you're established, you would use your own database, to be clear, no problem. But if the idea is marketing and growth, you're probably going to use someone else's database. Now, you are not going to have access to someone else's database because that's against the privacy law. They didn't give permission for you to have access, but you might provide a offer, article, something that business can send to their database, like, hey, look at our partner. So we did this over financial new year, July. One of our partners is a fabulous graphic designer, and he did a great campaign that was like, you name the price. And we sent it out to our database, and he got a bunch of bites. So they were all my clients, they weren't his clients. But by doing that, he got some work, and I was happy to promote because he's got some good stuff. Influencers. So this is where you're going on to usually social influencer. Could be a blog website though, could be a blog influencer. Influencer is basically someone who usually has at least 20,000 followers. Could be really big ones, might have over 100,000. Probably there's another great website, Danielle Lewin. He has a company called scrunch.com.au. .com.au. Have to just Google Scrunch. You'll find that she has a whole platform to help you do influencer marketing. So getting in touch with an influencer, working out and negotiating a contract with an influencer so that they can promote your product or service for a small fee. So an influencer with maybe 30,000 followers, and you pay them $300 or $400 to provide a video unpacking, unboxing your product and showing it off and saying how they love it and all the rest. Right? Great marketing tactic. News articles, of course, it's a little bit different to a media release. Media release, you draft. News article is where you contact a newspaper or a news firm of some kind and you say, hey, we're doing this newsworthy thing. Would you like to write about it? Blogs, of course, is articles that go on your website as a blog, and that also helps you with search engine optimization, so being found. It's that fresh content. Google and other platforms are like, oh, Marcy writes about show ponies, and it's a fresh article, and it's answering the question that someone is looking for on Google. I'm going to show her article. So blogs are really great for that. Podcasts, of course, lots of people trying to start podcasts, which is basically an audio file or audio episode. So podcast is basically radio on demand. And you can go to Spotify, iTunes. There's a bunch of platforms to find podcasts, and they're becoming really popular. Podcasts are good for branding and authority. If you want to monetize a podcast, it's a little bit harder. You kind of need a sponsor. It's not like YouTube videos. We can get ads put on and get money every time someone looks at it. Newsletters, of course, we are familiar with newsletters for decades. Probably people do e-newsletters. I would say that the format of a newsletter has changed a lot over the years. I'll probably do a webinar on this in February, March. If I can do it sooner, I will. Tells you all about it. Otherwise, go into the talk to your digital solutions advisor and they can pop you into one if you want to know how to do that. Let's come over to grassroots very quickly. How are we going for time? Not very good. That's okay. Value for money. What can I say? So organic social media really just means free posts, free growth, tagging people. I will say this, we do have workshops on organic social media growth. What I'm really observing and what I'm trialing at the moment is, hashtags. Sure, I don't see a lot of people using hashtags. I think pretty much marketers use hashtags. So the way to get growth in your social media, I'm finding, is really making a point of having authentic, conversation-worthy content, right? Stuff that people want to digest and look at and come back and look at and comment on, stuff they want to comment on and share, right? And put in your hashtags, limit it to like 3, 4, 5, something like that. Don't put in 20 hashtags. It doesn't actually help you anymore. But then tag people, tag organizations, talk about other organizations, talk about other people, talk about other products, right? And then tag them on it and draw them in for their attention, right? Because if you say, I'm like, oh, I was out and I bumped into Liam Hemsworth, I don't know, Chris Hemsworth. I won't, but say I did, take a photo of him, put it on my Instagram, I tag Chris Hemsworth, and then he's going to like it, and then his followers are going to see it, of however many hundreds of thousands of people follow Thor, and they'll see my post and come and have a look at my page, right? So it's a little bit, if you think about getting organic social growth a little bit like database marketing, you want to include people and get attention from people who already have pretty good social following, who target the same target audience that you might, and include them in your conversation in your posts. Then as they are flattered and interact, it'll help branch out into their database of followers to cross over, right? So that's organic social media. Testimonials, of course, is where someone actually will say, oh, Rhonwyn did a great job and blah, blah, blah. So there's lots of places to put testimonials, usually on your website. Otherwise, you probably do like a Google review or TripAdvisor or Trusted Network? What's it called? Which I don't know, is so trusted. There's a bunch of platforms to get reviews and showcase them on your website. Generally speaking, though, you're looking at a Google review or your own reviews. Social proof plugin. Social proof plugin is like a little element you can put on your website that plugin you put on your website. So say you got WordPress or something, or some other platforms have these. And have you ever been to like Kogan.com and a little pop-up comes in the corner that says, oh, Jack in Western Australia just bought a 39-inch TV. That's a social proof plugin. So it's showing that people are booking, people are buying, lets you know that you're not the only one and that it's a trusted product. Networking, of course, that's getting out and about, talking to people, just getting to know people and getting put in front of opportunities. Now, I do quite a bit of networking when it's allowed. I find going to regular groups and being involved in a regular network is far more beneficial than going to random events and meeting people for the first time. So if you had like if I wanted to go to an event and say, hey, I'm from Digital Solutions, $44 for 3 hours one-to-one with an advisor, federally funded program, I can go to a networking group and probably get a bunch of people to sign up if that was my purpose, because it's so cheap, it's supported by government, the proof is already there. It's a wonderful program with wonderful advisors in it. I cannot speak highly enough of it, no problem. But if I'm doing my own business, nobody knows me, I'm not personally backed by the government, they've never seen my work before, there's no trust there. So you build trust by getting to know people over time, right? So if you're going to do some person networking, I would go to a regular group. Memberships, of course. So you might be a member of a private group, a meetup, but more likely probably some sort of industry association. So Marketing Institute of Australia or Institute of Public Accountants, whatever it might be, right? You become a member, you go to those events, you get part of that group, you get referrals from that, you probably get onto a directory, could be Chambers of Commerce is another one. SEO. The reason this cluster is called grassroots is because they're pretty much free, right? Most of this stuff free and shows a bit of buzz, gets people talking about it. So grassroots is about expanding freely through word of mouth and that. SEO we've talked about for search engine optimization, get found on Google. That's just about your content and your quality of your website. YouTube videos, again, you can do for free, and it just showcases your talent and your authority and your credibility and helps with your SEO and content and all the rest. Referrals, of course, just asking people, hey, if you like it, can you refer? And LinkedIn. So LinkedIn, people use LinkedIn for online networking. It's used a lot for lead generation, which I detest. I hate people connecting with me on LinkedIn that I use for networking, and then they're like, hey, can I sell to you now? I'm like, well, no, but thanks for playing. Advertising, you would know most of these, so social media ads, Google ads or pay-per-click ads, billboards. Don't forget digital billboards. There's a fabulous digital billboard bidding website, which is Queensland-based, called CASIE, CASIE.co. And you can go on there and you can get billboards super cheap, show them in your area, show them in the gyms, show them at petrol stations, show them at train stations, bus stations, whatever. Get your ad out there, really, really cheap. And then, of course, other outdoor ads, which would be a sign writer does. It's there for a month. It's a few $100s, still an option. Third-party website ads. So you might actually negotiate with a networking group or something like, hey, can I put an ad on your website for this month? People can see it and click through. Otherwise, you would probably use the Google ads. So any website where people have AdSense where they place Google ads. And so if I had a spot on my website that was like just Google ads, and every time someone clicks on it, I get paid, right? Directory. So again, Chambers of Commerce, if you're a tradesperson, there's lots of directory websites like Service Central and things like that. Do be aware with directories of putting your email address. You're going to get spammed to death. So try to avoid or use I'd probably make up like a totally purpose specific email to capture emails from that directory, so that you can filter it a lot more. It doesn't clog up your main email addresses. YouTube ads. So, you know, actually placing ads on top of other people's videos. I'm seeing a lot of DIY videos on YouTube now. But you got to get in, you have a go. Affiliate marketplaces, so things like ClickBank, where you can actually place a public affiliate link. Systemi.io has its own affiliate platform. There's a few places that you can basically list whatever product it is, and just, I want to say random, but public can actually sign up to be an affiliate with you in a marketplace and then sell your stuff. And then, of course, Google and Facebook remarketing or retargeting. So I think even today or tomorrow, one of our other advisors, Renee, is talking about that. So that was probably a little bit droll, but I just wanted to make sure that everybody understands all the things listed here, because this is, you know, you come from marketing for beginners. What is all this stuff? All right. So I'm sorry if I went through that really quick, but really we're talking about marketing, planning and strategy, and what is marketing today. But absolutely important to go through a few strategies. Let's move on. So if you're avoiding promoting your business, go back and clarify what you're offering. It's just a tip. You just need to find one customer to start your momentum, okay? So one of the main things I say about marketing is don't overthink it. Don't make marketing stand in your way of gaining customers, right? I learned this lesson again. A couple of years ago, there was a grant that Queensland businesses could access, and I was like, great, I'm absolutely a service provider that I could quote for people wanting to apply for this grant, right? So you've got to think about grants both ways. And so I'm like, all right, I'll set up a funnel and a form for collecting, and I'll promote it, and I'll do this big marketing campaign. And in the end, I didn't really get anything from it. It's like, man, that was a lot of work. And I was like, that's right, Rhonwyn, that was a lot of work because I overcomplicated the process. I let all my marketing knowledge get in my own way, when really what I should have done is post of, hey, if you're applying for this grant, we can help you. Here's my number. Yeah. So really think about what is prompting you to not go out and shout your offer from the rooftops. Are you nervous about it? Are you overthinking the marketing process? Are you overcomplicating it? Quite often I find people are trying to do too many marketing tactics at the same time. It becomes unmanageable, and they're not synchronized. So what one message is saying over here is not really aligned with what it's saying over there, and and it's to the same audience, and it's different colors all over the place. Pick 3 colors, pick one logo, pick one place to market, pick one offer to market, one type of person to market it to. Have a very clear, easy, no nonsense sale process, which could be just call me and I'll book you in if you have to get started. And then the automation can come later. Okay. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed joining me for Marketing for Beginners. So today we went through the 4 P's of marketing, some basic marketing templates, some things you need to focus on around what problem you're solving, who you're solving it for, how do you pitch that, where do you find them, how easy is it for them to buy from you, making sure you understand that marketing has to lead to sales. If it doesn't, why not? If you're doing branding, is that the most appropriate thing you're aiming for? Is that actually the goal of your marketing? What is the goal? If you want to learn more, or if you want to have a one-to-one session with me is only $44. And in fact, I'm overstating. 3 one-to-one sessions with me is $44 together. As well as there's a few other webinars and workshops that are coming up. So if you came through because you found this workshop on Eventbrite today, or in recent time, I would really encourage you to go to www.businessstation.link/register, or if you do /Rhonwyn, so .link/RHONWYN, you can register to have me as your first advisor. And how it works is you do have to be in Western Australia, Queensland, or Northern Territory. I'm sorry. This program is Australia-wide. So if you're in another state, please know you can access it there. You can even get in contact with us and we can link you to the other organisations that are delivering it in New South Wales or Tassie, wherever. You must be a small business. You must be a for-profit business. We are taking some not-for-profits, but there's some criteria around like what you sell and how you gain your money. Can't just be like membership or something like that. So if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me. Just there, sorry to zoom through. Rhonwyn at businessstation.com.au. That's me. This is Business Station for Marketing for Beginners. Thank you very much for joining me today. If you're watching back the recording, don't forget to go through, hit pause, write down what you like, write down the links and everything that you need, and get started. And like I said, if you're not already paid the $44 to be inside the Digital Solutions program to get those 3 one-to-one advisory sessions with an expert, doesn't have to be me, it could be a social media expert or a website expert or whatever. Do it. You won't regret it, I promise. All right, guys, that's it. That's it, the end of the session. Thanks for joining me in the workshop today. Have a great day and goodbye.